Ho, ho, ho! Happy holidays, post-wrestling and Poisonrana listeners. I'm here to tell you all about the amazing things that we have going on this holiday season on the Poisonrana Patreon and free feed. This month we have already dropped some awesome reviews on our Patreon, including WCW Full Brawl 96, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad starring John Cena, and WWF Saturday Night's Main Event 7, featuring Hulk Hogan defending the WWF Championship against Paul Orndorff and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat taking on Jake the Snake Roberts in a snake pit match. But that's not all. To wrap up the month, we're going to be dropping reviews of Richard Donner's Scrooged from 1988, starring Bill Murray, and The Polar Express, starring Tom Hanks. You can get all of this, plus hundreds of movie reviews and retro wrestling reviews for just $5 when you sign up as a patron at patreon.com/poisonrana. But the holidays are a time for giving, and we have plenty of free shows we're giving away too. Check out Martin Bushby, Brandon from New Jersey, and Dickie Bird in their festive edition of Eagles Don't Hunt Flies, where they talk all about Dean Ambrose in the Miracle on 34th Street Fight matches. Braden and Jordan chatting all about the holidays in a new Weird and Wonderful episode of Detox. Martin Bushby and Andrew Thompson going on a Christmas wrestling extravaganza. And the incomparable John Cena catching you up on everything you might have missed in the world of pro wrestling in brand new episodes of Shot in the Dark. You can find all these shows by subscribing to Poisonrana wherever you find your podcasts. And finally, join Martin Bushby this Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time as he rounds off the year with some very special guests in the Big Fat Quiz of the Year 2024. And finally, join Braden and Davie live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time this Sunday for our Poisonrana Christmas party over at youtube.com/@PoisonranaPod. Now, what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Ho, ho, ho!
First time in a long time, but back like I never left. Taking each day as it comes, you know me, I don't read ahead. Watch me burn down everything, BDE on the TV set. When I'm in control on the road, you could never really know what's up next.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for upNXT. Yes, you found us at postwrestling.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast app you are using. And it's Tuesday, December 17, 10:05 p.m. You know what that means. We are
live on youtube.com/postwrestling. Hello, YouTube room. How are we doing?
We are reunited, and it feels so good. It's the holiday season. We're feeling festive.
Oh,
feeling
yes.
nice and jolly, very merry, and we're here to talk about some NXT, and you know why? Because we're your NXT friends.
Friends.
And we'll always be your NXT friends through the holidays, through the, I don't know, awful family members that you might have, through the fruitcake that you might receive that you don't want, everything. We're here for you these holiday season, and I'm happy that you're back in one piece in your home country.
Yes, just about. Had a few dramas to try and get here, a few changes of plans towards the end there, but I'm here, and I'm ready to chat wrestling.
You made it back safe and sound from across the pond. You finally got to have some sort of quasi Christmas with your family?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been home around Christmas time since 2015. So it was kind of cool being back around Christmas, got to see all the lights, get in the festive spirit. It really did feel like I was home for Christmas, which was great. Like had a Christmas dinner with my family and everything, and got to chill and watch some Christmas movies with my mom and go up, see the lights in London and all that. And I was I went to New York as well, so got to see, you know, the Christmas lights there as well, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I've had a nice time.
So Mumsy's doing all right?
She's doing good. Yeah, she's doing good. Family well. Yeah.
You had some Yorkies?
I didn't have any Yorkshire puddings actually when I was back. No, I didn't have any Yorkshire puddings. Did have, you know, the usual stuffing, pigs and blankets, turkey, gammon, all of that for Christmas. That was nice. And
what's gammon? Backgammon?
Ham.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Ham. We describe ham more as like something sliced that you'd have in a sandwich rather than like a roast.
Got you.
Meat.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I did have some dramas coming home because I was meant to leave Saturday morning from London to go to New York for the night and then fly back to Toronto on the Sunday. However, I opened my passport wallet where I have my passport and my residence card, and my residence card wasn't in there. And this was right before heading to the airport to Heathrow. Like, was going through my bag, going through my room, jackets, couldn't find it anywhere. And you are not allowed to fly into the country without the residence card. So
jeez,
I was very lucky in a way that I decided to add New York onto my trip because obviously that's I have a kind of tourist visa when going to the States. So I was able to get there, and then New York is relatively close to Canada. So ended up the good people at Porter Airlines very kindly refunded me my flight to credit. And then I bought a ticket to Buffalo, which I flew to. And our good friend, my new roommate, Golden Graham, he was kind enough. I bribed him with wings. I was like, hey, can you drive to Buffalo to pick me up and I'll buy us wings? So yeah, Graham was great. Picked me up from Buffalo, but could have been a lot worse. As I said, if I was meant to fly right into Toronto, I dread to think what it would have cost me to try and get a flight like day of to New York or wherever. So that would have been a nightmare, and I'd possibly be looking at up to 2 months before I'd get a replacement because Canada Post ain't helping things either. So frustrating that I lost the card, and baffled as to where it is, but things could have been a lot worse. So,
but you can get a new one now. Like you're back in Canada, right? Like
I am. Just how long it's going to take. I've pretty much got back to Toronto and gone straight to work, so I haven't properly unpacked everything yet. So I'll have a good sort through and then apply for another one. But it's typical. I'm like so close to getting my citizenship now, but I do need a card because when you take your citizenship test, you need to like destroy your residency card. So I'm going to need to apply for another residency card before I can get my citizenship, which is just ridiculous.
Wow. Well, we're happy that you made it back. It could have been worse. Like it could have
been way
lost
worse.
Like your passport. You could have been stuck. You could have had to fly back, right? Mm-hmm. Like back home or whatever. But wow.
I think it just kind of completely knocked my confidence though for that day because I'm then getting off the plane and I can't find my passport anywhere. And I'm rummaging and I'm like the last person on the plane. All the flight attendants are helping me. I'm like, well, I had it because I showed it when I boarded the plane. Yeah. It's on this plane. And it was because the plane was kind of rammed. I just slipped it into one of my other cases where I don't normally put it. And they moved my case like further down the plane. So I was in there, but you just... it kind of shakes you a little bit. You have a stress like that, and just I'm now fearing anything that could go wrong would go wrong that last day.
This all sounds like a plot to a terrible straight to Disney Plus Home Alone.
It's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, is it?
Yeah. Except like from different countries and stuff. But geez, that like very, very lucky that Toronto, Buffalo is somewhat close enough that you were able to do that. What stupid rules though? You have to go by land. If like, what's the difference?
Well, what's ridiculous is so
stupid.
Before I was a resident, I would need an ETA visa, which is like a visa waiver to be in Canada. I need a similar one for the States called an ESTA, and that is digitally attached to your passport. So they'll scan that and they'll see that you've got this visa. But a residency isn't attached to your passport. That just seems ridiculous. And I mean, I get it. It's, fears of terrorism and all these kind of things. But like I had my old residency card. I have a Canadian healthcare card. I've got a Canadian driving license, 2 Canadian credit cards, Canadian debit card, emails of utility bills with proof of address and all that. And that wouldn't have been enough to fly. Yet when I'm crossing the border at Buffalo, the guy's like, "Do you have your card with you?" I was like, "Nope." He's like, "Oh, okay. What do you have?" I was like, "I've got my old card." "Sure, show me that." "Yeah,
Wow.
through you go." And it was so easy. So
I mean, maybe this all won't matter with all this talk about Canada becoming the 51st state.
I mean, what will I have to apply for then? I might just get booted out the country.
Well, no, I mean, well, yeah, because they'll put you in a cage or something, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like if you were a Canadian citizen and then they make us all become U.S. citizens, then by association you'd become an American.
Yeah, but I'm not a Canadian citizen yet. Am I?
When you are, by the time
When
this
I am.
happens, you
Okay.
know, Trump, Trudeau, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. But yeah, that's the talk of the town now. That shockingly, 13% of Canadians wish that we could just become Americans. And I'm like, man, what happened? What happened? That would have been easy.
Just 13%. I'm surprised.
Well, you know, we and you live in Toronto, and I like to say that Toronto isn't really a Canadian city. We're like an American city in a Canadian country, but I don't know. Imagine that in a world where Canada joins forces with the United States. I don't know about that, but if that would have helped your travel, you would have just been like, "Oh, fly home from there."
Maybe
in the future. Possibly, but we're happy you're home. You didn't make it to SNME. You were sort of thinking of doing that?
No, I mean, it was, a couple of people pulled out, and then it would have been a stress to try and get there. And especially
with what happened.
Well, especially then, like I was leaving a lot earlier the next day, whereas I was going to be flying back sort of Sunday evening. So it would have been just a bit of a headache to try and do. So I went to see Teeth, the musical, instead.
Oh.
Are you familiar with the movie Teeth?
Yeah, the vagina with teeth.
Yeah.
They made it a musical?
It's a musical version.
Come on.
It was pretty fun. It was pretty fantastic. You had people wearing ponchos in the first few rows because they'll get
one of those
splattered by penis blood.
By vagina juices.
Yep, all that.
Flying teeth. We kind of saw some teeth in a segment later today that we'll talk about. So wow, very, very nice. We briefly got to see some a little bit of Christmas with New York, because I got to hang out with you briefly in New York. For anyone who listened a few weeks ago when we were doing some shows, we got to go visit Bryant Park had some Christmas stuff, and the tree was like getting lit up and everything. And then we left New York. But who would have thought, Davie, that we were in New York City the exact same time as Luigi Mangione?
Oh, true, yeah.
He was in New York while we were in New York. Now, I'm not saying we had anything to do with that. However, just a freaky coincidence. So, yeah, these Americans definitely didn't want you. Although you're European, but Luigi definitely not the same European as you. But yes, Merry Christmas, everyone out there. We're happy that you're joining us here on upNXT. It is nice that we're back together, and we're gonna celebrate the holidays this year, because I want to formally invite everyone out there listening right now, wherever you are. This Sunday, you may have heard off the top, 4 p.m. Eastern time, we will be kicking off with a Poisonrana Christmas party stream. And you're all invited. We want to hang out and talk about some wrestling, talk about some Christmas or holiday traditions and food, drinks, all the merry and fun stuff. So please join us this Sunday over on our Poisonrana YouTube. Hit that subscribe, give us a little follow there, and hang out. We would love for you to join us, because we want to talk about everything. We're going to have some guests, some friends in the post-wrestling community, the Poisonrana network and everything. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun, and we want you to tune in and bring your fruitcakes, bring your buns, bring your Fernetta Chata. Have we talked about the Fernetta Chata?
Fernata. Did we decide on Fernata?
Wasn't it taken? I thought Fernata was
no. Fachada was taken. Fernata is good. Yeah.
Yes. We went to. I finally went to Rudy's. Now, I feel like I've been like 3 times now. in New York, and we created, you may have heard us talking about Fernet and how much we love Fernet, the drink, but then we mixed it with rum chata, and the bartender there thought we were insane. And then he tried it, and he was like, "Oh my God, you guys might be onto something."
Good.
So are we going to drink some on Sunday?
I think so. Yeah, we've got to. We did this Christmas party stream last year, and it was so much fun. Going to do the same sort of thing this year. We might be throwing kind of the link out when we're live to have you come on and join us. And the way we run it is it's very like a Christmas party. You can show up and leave whenever you want, but just make sure you bring something with you, whether that be a topic of conversation, a
party
game,
favors.
Yeah, whatever you want, bring it along. And
smoke them if you got
sure
them.
To have some fun because it was a lot of fun last year.
Absolutely. I just joined the Christmas or holiday kickback on the NWA pod right here on Post Wrestling. So if you haven't heard that already, please check out the NWA fellas with tons of guests in the Post Wrestling community. And they went 5 hours. I didn't make the whole 5 hours, but boy, those guys go Broadway with a ton of fun. So that was a fun Christmas party. We got our own Christmas party coming up. I know we got a best and worst of show with John and Way coming out in the next little while. So lots and lots of podcasts, and follow us on all the socials, whether you use Twitter, Blue Sky, Facebook, Insta, whatever it is, give us a follow on all those things to stay in the loop of everything that we do, because you've been away, but we've still been dropping podcasts. We've been dropping some awesome shows out there, including, like you said off the top, the SNME Retro Show. This week, we're going to look at Scrooged and Polar Express. So 2 big Christmas movies. I know a lot of people love those ones and get in the mood. So really looking forward to that. I think I'm going to try to drop those pretty quickly so that you can breathe in all the Christmas air and everything while we're still in the spirit of all that fun stuff. So lots and lots of shows, and appreciate everyone out there. I got to appreciate and send thanks to our man Neil, who filled in for me when you guys did a show a few weeks ago. I got to shout out Sino Evil and B Detroit from What Up Doe, who did a great job filling in for us a few weeks ago. And then Jack Wanan, I'm going to mess his name up again, but his debut on a wrestling review, it was his tryout, if you will. I gave the kid a chance. I gave him that NIL developmental chance, and I thought Jack did a stand-up job, and I totally mean that. So Jack, thank you as well. So really happy with look at that. We got all these different friends jumping in and out when we need them. So I
want to echo that. I don't like us missing shows on here, and it's great that we have got people that can fill in because obviously we need a holiday at times, and living in a different country, obviously I want to see my folks sometime and that kind of thing. And it's great that we can keep this thing still going, because we've been doing this for years, and we don't want to miss a show. So it's great we have people that can fill in, and we really appreciate that. And, we've got such a great community here at Post Wrestling and Poison Rana that we can have people fill in, which is awesome. And I think while we're at it, it's a weird time of year. Normally we'd be doing our Sunday Poison Rana shows, but lots been going on with different PLEs and travels and things like Christmas and New Year. So yes, our Christmas party is in place of Poison Rana this week, and we'll be getting back to regular programming in the new year. But NXT are going to be dropping shows both on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and we will not be going live after these shows.
What do you mean? What?
We will be enjoying the festivities. However, I think our plan is, once we've kind of got our schedules figured out, is the first couple of days in January, we'll do kind of one show sort of covering both shows that we've missed, and sort of talking mainly about the big things that have happened, and and getting us all primed up for New Year's Eve in the new year.
Yes. So as we were saying, we don't like to miss shows, but unfortunately, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are 2 nights that we both don't want to be sitting here watching NXT. And I'm sure a lot of you won't be here watching NXT or wanting to hear us talk about it. We're not saying we're not there for you, because we always are there for you. So I think we won't be live next Tuesday, and we won't be live the Tuesday after that. But I do think we're kind of looking at an afternoon, Thursday, January the 2nd, where we'll talk about the next few episodes of NXT and a preview for the 7th, which is New Year's Evil on the Tuesday there. It's the next Tuesday special. So we will return on the 7th or the Tuesday show, but catch us live on a Thursday right here on Post, the 2nd of January, for a bit of a New Year's Eve hangover and a preview for New Year's Evil. And as we're talking right now, I believe they're taping next week's episode in Lowell, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think Thursday night they're taping for the episode that is the week after that. So we'll still be here, but we're taking the next 2 weeks off. But of course, like I said, you can still catch us on all the other shows that we have out, including our Patreon, hundreds of shows that you can listen to fill the void. If you got no one for the holidays, I mean this sincerely. We got you. We'll be there for you in your ears whenever you need us. You just got to click play, whether it's Christmas movie reviews, wrestling reviews, or just silly old shows like The Detox. We got you covered, and we super appreciate our listeners, our family, our friends out there. We can't do all of this without you, and we hope that you have a fun holidays, but we're going to have some holiday fun too. So I know we just took some breaks. We're going to take another break, but it's Christmas.
Everyone's busy. The best thing to do is follow our socials, and we'll keep you posted with when we're going live, if you can catch us, or obviously the audio and the video streams are always available afterwards as well. But come January, everything will be back to normal. Knock on wood.
Yes. Yes. I mean, like I said, we got the best and worst of show with John Away, which is always a big one. So we'll be prepping for that. That'll be out on both Patreons there, the Post Wrestling and the Poisonrana. So we got you with that. I
believe
one.
that's dropping on the 30th of the month.
Yeah. Oh, even better. So pretty quick there. And then of course we'll be gearing up for our best match ever 2024 part 1 and 2, which we'll start looking at soon over the holidays. I'm sure. I like this because sometimes I get to see friends or family I don't always see, and they always know I love the wrestling. I'm the wrestling guy. I'm sure you are too, to your friends and family. And I love to be like, hey, to my brothers, like, hey, let's pop a few cold ones and let me show you some great matches. And secretly I'm rewatching the matches for my homework, if you will, for the podcast. So always looking forward to these shows as well. So lots and lots of content. We got you covered. And thanks for listening and supporting.
And if you want to remember the year of 2024 in wrestling, well, Martin Bushby has you covered tomorrow night on the Poisonrana YouTube channel. So youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. It's the big fat wrestling quiz of the year, starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Unfortunately, I cannot defend my championship this year. My
controversy
last year got caught, some testing post the game, some maybe PEDs or something, but he's been banned. And unfortunately, from me being away, we've got a bit of catching up to do with some shows to record. So I'm not going to be able to join it either, but we do have some great teams and you can see them all tomorrow. Battle it out. See who knows the year of 2024 in wrestling the best.
So Brandon's not playing, right?
Brandon's done. He's done.
Yeah, he's been called out. The controversy. I don't think he cheated, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. And what's going on with New Jersey? There's drones and everything. I just don't. Anything New Jersey right now? Suspicious. I'm not saying he cheated, but I'm also saying he didn't. I know Brandon has RSVP'd for the Christmas party on Sunday, so I'm sure we'll get into some wacky antics from that. Maybe I'll ask him about the drones, which I'm sure he's sick of people asking about.
He'll show up half an hour after the stream's finished.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. What about you didn't go to Saturday night's main event, but did you happen to watch it?
I did. I downloaded it on my phone and watched it on my big travels back. I thought it was pretty fun. Kind of interesting watching a main roster WWE TV show that is just match. I thought was quite refreshing. I loved the feel of it. I thought they did nostalgia in quite a tasteful way. It wasn't just let's just wheel out a load of old people and have them bury the new people, which we've seen in old school Raws and things like that. I thought having just the whole feel of it, the set, the video package at the beginning. I loved, Joe Tessitore in a host role, which is something WWE hasn't really had for years. That old like perch with him and Jesse the Body Ventura, I thought was great. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought I was quite surprised with all of the matches were relatively clean outcomes. And I think the thing is with it being TV is you do just wish for an extra few minutes of each match, I'd say. But overall, I enjoyed it. And I liked the stuff in the main event. I think, this Kevin Owens story has actually been pretty good. And it's great to see this, the character work Kevin's been doing. And, Cody winning kind of by nefarious means prolongs that story, and the stuff with the package pile driver after. So I really enjoyed this show, and I wasn't like kicking myself that I didn't go to it, but I had fun watching it on TV.
Yeah, I felt like it's funny because that's like, oh, it's a TV special, but they were promoting it like a PLE, considering there's big title matches and important matches and stories and everything. But it also still felt like it's like one of those PLE house show kind of things, retro vibe. But it was so cool seeing them use that, and it felt nice. It felt fun. It felt special. The Obsession song off the top, the graphics, the entrance ramp, Jesse the Body, just anything he said, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Hearing him, him shitting all over Cody Rhodes was hilarious. And especially with the finish with the steel chair and everything, it was so good. It was so retro and felt, again, like very, very fun. I felt like you said it was just match. I felt like it was match, commercial breaks, match, commercial breaks. But I feel like that's WWE, and I'm slowly like enjoying that because I like the breaks. I like being able to go to the bathroom and then come back and not miss 3 promos or a match or something. So I know that like some people definitely seem to complain that like, hey, there's a lot more of just commercials and video packages more than the wrestling, but it's the same thing in like sport.
Apart from actual, it's on TV. I didn't notice any kind of PLE level of just breaks in between things. It still felt like there was a lot of other stuff and then the wrestling, but I think like I like that still because it gives you a break. It gives you, even if you're at the arena, it gives you a chance to go get a drink or anything. So it felt paced fine to me, and I think going forward, it's going to be like, I'm not upset at that. We went to Money in the Bank last year, and I remember being like, okay, can we like move things along? And then I've been to AEW pay-per-views where I'm like, oh, holy shit, I just need to pee, but like, I don't want to miss this match and the match after that, and then the main. It's like there's a good like medium that we need to find. But I feel like the matches were pretty good. The story with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, the whole title thing was a big deal. Like as soon as he opened the video of Triple H opening the case, everyone assumed it was Stardust gear. But it was the Big Eagle or the Winged Eagle, whatever one. Wait, no, the Big Eagle is the Attitude Era one, right? Yeah. So like that was pretty cool. And then I guess I'm gonna be like the biggest nitpicker here, but they used a replica. They didn't use like the belt. It looked like one of them I could go buy. I was like, wait, that's not like. Well, yeah.
Right?
I mean the old one has WWF on it, so they couldn't have had that one.
I thought of that because like the one I have on our set is the Winged Eagle, but with the blue strap, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't say WWF on it, and it's a replica. But it just like, this is complete being a nitpicker. I was like, why does that title not look like the real like title? It's not because Hennig smashed it up or anything like that to make the hardcore title, but which I think was on a Saturday night's main event as well. But I'm putting it aside because having Cody come out with that title with Saturday night's main event was super cool. And then we got the package pile driver, and then we got the video after with Triple H and Kevin Owens shoving each other, and then now we got Kevin Owens walking around with the Winged Eagle belt, saying he's going to be defending it on the holiday tour the next few weeks. Like he's photoshopped the picture and everything. I'm just like, man, that's the right move. Like we were kind of talking weeks and weeks ago that like, hey, look, Cody needs to go into WrestleMania as champ, but wouldn't it be cool, like a little pit stop, if he were to maybe flip-flop a little bit to help, like, I don't know, make this Kevin Owens story or character that he's finally back at, feel big. And I think they did the right move of getting his heat back, brother, by like after the fact, like killing him with it. And it's like, okay, you didn't need to win because we can.
And
still
then
go with
and now he can pivot to Randy whenever Randy's back. Like you could have both of them. I imagine Owens will probably be storyline suspended for a little bit. Cody's going to have a little bit of time off to sell this injury. So you can prolong it a little bit until Randy's back. And I imagine that will be the Mania match will be Randy, Kevin Owens. I think they could stretch it out till then. I thought was great. And like Kevin Owens is just so good. And it would be nice to see him as champion again at some point. But as long as he's like, I'm just happy they get to still, figure him into like prominent stories and roles in the company consistently.
And finally seeing that package pile driver, like me and you both have watched Steen way before WWE. And I don't know, we watched him through NXT. We watched him in WWE. It's like, we just wrote that move off because it's like, he just won't ever do it. And then finally we get him to do it. Now I wonder, did Triple H clear this because he knows Penta's going to come in and be using it on January 6th in LA? Is that why? With the 0, with the dash through it? Is that Penta L0? Is that what that means?
I assume so.
Or was it LWO that it means? I've seen some people posting that, oh no, he's going to show up on Raw and Triple H is just going to put him in a feud with the LWO guys or something like that. It's like, no, I hope that's not the case.
I'm glad he's just coming in on his own. I know there's a whole lot of stuff going on with, Phoenix and AEW and these tweets that he's been putting out about inhumane conditions or whatever. But that stuff aside, I'm just really happy that we're going to get a bit of time for Penta to just be on his own, because I think it's something that was completely lost in AEW, was both of them having a significant singles run. And I think have this guy establish himself. Sure, down the line, having the tag team will be cool, but I'd really like to see them have a go at a singles run with Penta first. And it looks like he'll be on the main roster and skipping NXT as well.
I mean, that's fantastic. One of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Yeah, he's a little older and it's a solo run, but this is what I've wanted to see. I don't know when or how, but Triple H needs to book a PLE in 2025 in Mexico. Rey Mysterio versus Penta, one-on-one. It print money, essentially, is what you'd be doing. But having him, if this is him, of course, having him come in for the big Raw on Netflix debut, which is in California, also his territory. So pretty smart move. He's going to be instantly over and cheered by everyone in that building, if that is the case. But hear me out. Penta joining WWE. There's a dream match or a dream rematch that we won't see, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Io Sky versus Penta. One more time, baby. One more time. I know I'm talking crazy, but I don't know how many times I've rewatched that match. But yeah, this is great. I want Penta breaking arms. I want him hitting destroyers. I want him doing all the stops. I want this guy to become a star in WWE. I hope it really works out, because that sounds pretty exciting. I'm super thrilled about that. If that is him, it looks like it is. Just Alex Abrahante's contract is still, he's still in AEW, right?
Just tack on years and years to
him,
please.
Pay him all the money he wants. Don't ever I saw Jose, the assistant, jacked Jose. He was tweeting some
Jose
things,
can come. That's fine. Sure.
Yeah, Jose he's jacked. He's great. But Alex Abrahantes, you stay over there. You stay away. But yeah, have you kept up with any of the other wrestling? I know we went to Full Gear.
Yeah, pretty much. I've definitely kept up with WWE, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I've watched all of that since being away. The AEW, I've only been watching Dynamite. So I still haven't seen Okada wrestle for months. But yeah, I've been AEW. I'm still kind of in the same place I was few weeks ago. We did give our review of Full Gear not so long ago.
In the cab, in the Uber, that made it. The Uber showed up, sort of.
It's still not particularly doing it for me. I know it's cool having the C2, but just it's the stakes of that tournament don't mean anything for me. You're going through like a months-long grueling round-robin tournament for the US title, essentially. Like it's a secondary title. I think this would mean so much more if it was a tournament to be, the main event of All In. I think that's absolutely the stakes. That's because we've seen in this company, rankings don't mean anything anymore. You can get a title shot by just attacking someone. So why are you going to put yourself? Eddy Thorpe wouldn't be in this tournament, would he? He knows how to do this. Like, no, I don't need to go through 5 people. I'll just attack someone and get the match. So that's the quality's been good. I would like to try and I've got a couple of days off coming up soon, and I would like to try and catch up on some of those collision matches I've missed out on. I heard that Kyle Fletcher Mark Briscoe match was fantastic, so I would like to go back and watch that. But I think this tournament should either be for all the secondary titles in one, or it should be the main event of All In, not for this secondary title on it's in the Tokyo Dome, so that's kind of cool, I guess. But I just don't feel the stakes for it.
Yeah, I still watch my Dynamite. I have not necessarily checked out Collision in quite a while, but I still get the wrestling, but it's still in that weird, like, feel like I just don't care about this. There's nothing that feels like must watch. Even this tournament that like last year everyone was raving about. This year so far, like we're getting good matches. Shelton Benjamin, like Ospreay's in it. Like the talent is stacked. It's impeccable, but there's still like something that's missing there. That's like, I don't know what it.
I think there are advantages what WWE have with kind of their seasons. You have, Survivor Series is kind of the last stop before we get into Mania season, which is Rumble through to Mania. And then you have SummerSlam as the next destination. Everything's heating up there. I feel all of AEW's pay-per-views are kind of on the same level. And they certainly, the first year's All In, they didn't treat that as big a deal as it should be treated. I think this year's All In, they made a better stab at that. But I just feel everything kind of feels the same, so nothing special. And there's great matches, don't get me wrong, but I don't have that sense of, like as wrestling fans, we all do, like, you start booking Mania now, don't you? In your head, you're going, okay, so where are all these pieces moving for Mania? Whereas I find AEW, you go, okay, so where are these pieces moving for the pay-per-view in 2 weeks? And so I just can't get as excited. And when it comes to the pay-per-views, I enjoy them because the wrestling's great. But it's that feeling they keep talking about I haven't refound it yet.
Yeah, and it's going to be an interesting year for them. Like they got to find some things that click and work. You can't just rely on Sting, Bryan Danielson, and the Costco guys to help sell your tickets at All In, because that's what they were leaning on last week or whatever it was at that thing. It's like
all guys who probably aren't wrestling on this show as well.
They might not be on it. I feel like having Bryan there with the Costco guys in a weird way was like, hey, he did say in the promo that they showed on Dynamite, whatever it was last week, like they played the clip of him with those guys, and he said like, you must be crazy if you think All In's coming to Texas and I won't wrestle. I won't be here. So I'm like, okay, but are you under contract? Are you going to show up somewhere else before or after that? But yeah, hopefully he does, because he could be something that brings back some more, I don't know, more something if Danielson comes back, right? Yeah. Obviously, injuries aside, and they sound like they could be some serious stuff, surgeries, etc. But the same could be said with Kenny Omega, because I'm one of the biggest Kenny fans, and we're getting the return of New Japan Kenny Omega, which I'm like, okay, hopefully he's okay. This is going to be a big test to see how he goes, and it's a big test for Gabe Kidd also in the Tokyo Dome in a few weeks. But it feels backwards, because he should be the White Knight to come in and return on Dynamite, return and wrestle and do all these things. And it just feels like AEW is missing a few steps, and they've made the show not must watch. They've made me not want to watch it every week live. And then sometimes I'm like, do I even need to watch this episode? Did anything actually happen? I'm like, okay, I love wrestling, so I'm going to put it on. But the feeling has not been restored.
I get a feeling, though, that is exactly, it is testing the water, this New Japan thing. I think there's almost a pressure where if I'm returning to AEW, it's watched by more people. It's going to get that criticism and that focus a bit more. And if he comes out and can't do it like he used to, I think it's a big deal, whereas, yeah, sure, the Tokyo Dome, Wrestle Kingdom, all that, it's of course, it's a huge stage, but you have a lot of the grandpas wrestling in New Japan, don't you? You have Tanahashi and Naito still going, and I think it's almost like a dipping of the toe in the water. And if he's not up to it, it's, well, we can kind of just not focus on that a little bit, maybe.
Like when he got attacked or whatever, the last time we saw him on Dynamite, he was hitting moves. He was hitting people with crazy looking moves, and he was jacked. And the promotion and the photos and everything that he's been posting in the road diaries for the Wrestle Kingdom, I'm like, the guy looks like he's ready. So I'm hoping, like, again, he's my guy. And judging on this Tokyo Dome match with Gabe Kidd, like 2025 could be a lot more interesting for me, just because I want to see this guy wrestle a whole lot more. So, yeah. Tyler Blair in the chat here says AEW has lost a lot of the special stuff that they've had, but that Hammerstein show, I'm going to watch that live, and I'm excited about those shows. Don't understand Omega not showing up in AEW unless he's hurt. And then Goodfellow in the chat also says Tony Storm and Kenny not having return matches on Dynamite is crazy. Yes, that was another kind of big, weird fumble thing. Yeah. What's your excitement for ROH Final Battle at the Hammerstein Ballroom?
I will not be watching that show. That's my excitement level.
I got to shout out the NWA pod again, because I was on their show on last Sunday, and I felt like a deer in headlights when a bunch of people were talking about how they watch Ring of Honor and they're excited for the show. And I was just like, I don't even know. So you know what I did? I looked at the card today for this show, and I don't know. Maybe Matt Cardona signing with AEW or ROH, whatever show that is. Maybe that helps add some things, but it still feels like, is that the NXT of AEW, like the Ring of Honor? Because I just feel like, as much as people are like, oh, it's he bought it and it's dead, like, they do have people who watch it. They do have people who are in the arena held hostage before or after Dynamites or Collisions. But I'm not shitting on it to shit on it. I'm just like, man, this is what you look at the card. It's like, that's not a Hammerstein Ring of Honor card. Like, it just doesn't. I don't know.
No, I mean, it, for me, it just has zero identity. I don't think it should be I know logistically it's because you've got a crowd there, but I don't think taping stuff before Dynamite, before Collision, after Collision, whatever, helps. I think what we're going to go on to say when we review NXT, NXT doing these different venues, these make it feel a little different from the main roster and give it a bit of its own identity. And I think ROH should be doing that. I think ROH should be running your local bingo halls and stuff, and being kind of like it was in the day. And absolutely, like, it should be used to get new talent and build up new talent, like ROH has always been, and be one of those big indie promotions. But I just, it feels like AEW light, and I don't know what its selling point is. I don't know what its identity is. And I like Jericho and Cardona. Like, I respect what Cardona's done on this indie run stuff, but I'm not watching that match. I can't say I'll probably. It's such a busy time of year, There's so much going on. It will take something quite special for me to watch this show, and I'm flat out saying I'm probably not watching it.
Yeah. I really don't like. Maybe the Athena match because like everyone's been saying she's been on this run, but like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to, kind of. It's like she should be on AEW TV if she's so good. Because like we need stars on that show that help somehow, some way. I feel like we're being negative on it, but I think it is a good idea that they're doing Hammerstein. It's weird that they're doing like 3 in a row because you're making people choose which ones they want to go to, or you get the sickos, if you will, who maybe go to all of them. But I'm looking forward to like I might check some of out a Final Battle, but like I'm looking forward to seeing the Dynamite taping there. Like to see like how will that work, because going forward in 2025 they have to do smaller arenas. They got to do things like this. They got to do smaller out of the box ideas, because that's what kind of brought them to the dance. Like we'll always go back and refer to that show on the boat, right? On the cruise boat. And it's like do more of that stuff, and maybe that might, help create something more original. I'm not quite sure, but I'm interested to see how it looks in the Hammerstein Ballroom, obviously with the ECW lore, and then you got the GCW tie-in stuff. I'm not really feeling some of that stuff either. Does this mean Ricky Starks is back on TV, or does it mean that we get Effie on TV? Because I'm like, I don't know. Not really sure.
Yeah, all that stuff's very odd with Ricky Starks, and the fact that they're working so quickly with the company afterwards. If Ricky Starks isn't showing up anywhere anytime soon, I think that's a real dick move to him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, what did this guy do? I mean, there's stuff we don't know, but just very odd the not using this guy.
Yeah.
Especially by the sounds of it, there's still quite a bit of time on his contract left.
Yeah. Maybe just let him go. Like at this point, he wants to be in WWE. He wants to be with his friends. He wants to be with Cody. Just, I don't know, let him go. Let him go do it, I guess. So lots and lots of wrestling. The wrestling never ends. And I got to throw out a plug before we talk about NXT. For any of you Toronto listeners out there, we will be watching some wrestling this Thursday in Toronto, December 19th, Thursday night in Parkdale, a very merry Lucha Christmas show. You know we love our Demand Lucha, and we mean this but from the bottom of our hearts. It's so much fun. The best indie wrestling fed going in Toronto, and this show looks absolutely stacked. And Davie, call me crazy, but is this match made for me? Let me read you this match. Is this made for me, Davie? Gringo Loco taking on Sydney Akeem, formerly known as Scripps, right? Okay, already, Davie, that match has Reggie, the sommelier. Now they've added a stipulation. Gringo Loco will be defending his DDT Universal Championship in this match. So I hope this somewhat opens a door with more DDT coming to Toronto, somehow working with Demand. I don't know how, but this is a match made for me. Gringo Loco versus Scripps for the DDT title. I'm sold already. On top of that, Jack Cartwheel versus Lince Dorado. Medicos, one of the Medicos guys versus Seraphis. And we know we love our Medicos guys. And then the Doc of Medicos taking on your favorite, Lucha Freddy.
This is the main event.
This is your main event, yes. Yeah. No holds barred, loser must retire match. We go to all these shows. We've seen some of our listeners out there as well. If you do go to the show, please come and say hello. I may or may not have some exclusive Poisonrana friendship bracelets for you. But we have a ton of fun. Demand Lucha, like legit, is the best Toronto indie wrestling fed, and we will be there this Thursday for a very Lucha Christmas, and we're gonna get lit like a Christmas tree, my friend. It's gonna be awesome. So
we'll have our Christmas sweaters on, our Santa hats. We'll be ready to party and Lucha.
Yeah, Lucha. Go to luchamarket.com or go to Demand Lucha on all their socials to find all the tickets. But you will be finding us there, and we will be. The shots will be ringing. Bells will be. I don't know. I was trying to make a Christmas thing, but it's gonna be fun. It's going to be great. Very, very excited about this. And one final thing here. Happy birthday to the BDE champion, Fire Frank. Got to wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Frank.
Yes, happy birthday. We will be joined by Frank to chat about his pick, Scrooged, on our Patreon just tomorrow. So happy birthday, Frank. We love you. But you do have to defend your title once in a while. So maybe we'll talk about that on that review. This guy and his contracts.
Maybe on Sunday.
Just what, an impromptu defense at the Christmas party?
I think we tried it last year and he was like, no. So that's a year. Like, come on.
Make him defend it.
Yeah.
Make him defend it for sure. Appreciate you, Frank, and we'll chat on Sunday, and maybe we'll make you defend it. I'm not sure, but so anyone listening, if you show up to our Christmas party, you might walk out as BDE champ.
You could be the champ. Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about some NXT.
Let's do it. NXT from December 17th, 2024, from Lowell, Massachusetts, and we start with a video package of kind of all historical moments in WWE, WWF history that's taken place in Lowell, including the I Lost My Smile, Shawn Michaels promo. And it goes on to say, well, superstars of today face hardships of their own. And then a bit of a video package catching us up with all the stories. And we go right away into Oba Femi taking on Axiom. Axiom's first of 2 matches tonight. Vic Joseph noting that Oba Femi has 150 pounds on Axiom. So huge size difference here. Axiom just trying to stick and move and use his speed as best he can. Attempts a low bridge to send Oba to the outside, but Oba just grabs him and stops it from happening. And then Axiom goes for a springboard and Oba just slaps him across the back as we go to commercial break. And after the back, we just see this paw print just on the back of Axiom.
There's a photo of it that NXT have posted since the match, and it's literally the dude's handprint on Axiom's back. Like I always, especially watching Oba Femi, compare him to like any monster wrestler when smaller guys are flying at them and they're just swatting them away like King Kong at the helicopters, but literally did that to this guy. And then when they come back, Vic Joseph's like, yo, look at his back. And it's just his
nasty.
It's like he dipped his hand in some paint and finger painted on his back. It's literally like the paw print of a bear on his back. A great visual.
Axiom comes off the top with a missile drop kick. Pretty much as soon as Axiom's getting any momentum, Oba just uses power to get right back into it. He's bullying Axiom. And then Axiom comes back with some overhand palm strikes and a drop kick to the knee. And then counters a powerbomb with a Rana and a pin attempt, and then goes for the golden ratio, but gets caught with a huge toss powerbomb. And then Oba Femi hits the fall from grace, the pop-up powerbomb for the win.
Yeah, this was like a lot of fun. When they announced this match last week, I was like, hey, like the difference between the sizes, it always, David Goliath kind of matchup. And it was exactly what I think we all thought it was going to be, where it's Axiom giving it his best. Even at the beginning, when the bell rang, it had Axiom hitting with these chops that were really loud and rang out here in Lowell. But then Oba's like, nah, man. And then started doing his own and then just destroyed this guy, like throwing him around. There was a few hope spots that I think the crowd were biting on. But at the end of the day, it was Oba Femi just destroying him with that pop-up powerbomb move. So I had a lot of fun with this. This may be my highlight of the show, actually, just because I'm a big fan of both these guys, and they're so different that I love when you see a matchup, when you see the differences and what they can do with it. So like down the line, I'd like to see this rematched in some capacity, because it's really getting over Oba. Basically, like, he's destroyed the tag team champions, and he beat them already. Like, he could be the tag team champions if he wanted to. So I really like this.
Yeah, I like this a lot. And I liked what it set up for the kind of ongoing story throughout tonight's show with Axiom. We go backstage to Eddy Thorpe, who's being interviewed, and he's being asked about, faking his attack. And he just says, I'm brilliant. For all those know-it-alls out there, I fooled everyone. And if it was anyone else who did this, you'd call them a mastermind or a genius. But me, you call me a cheater. And then Ava walks in and says, look, you took a shortcut, but the contract's done, so it's going ahead. And Eddy goes, yeah, Ava, it doesn't feel good taking the blame for something you didn't do. And I've always been told to work smarter, not harder. And that's what I did. So you can call me a cheater, you can call me whatever you want, but after tonight, you will call me new NXT champion.
I think we could call him liar, liar. And I think it's a little bit of a double entendre there because A, he is lying about how this whole thing came about. Like he lied to get this spot. But I also mean the movie Liar, Liar, because if you remember the washroom scene when someone walks in and Jim Carrey's punching himself in the face and he's like, I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind? It's kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, I kicked my own ass to get this thing. I never even got jumped in the first place. But
I think this has definitely brought something out of Eddy that we haven't seen before. I have found him way more entertaining in these backstage scenes this week and last week since he's become a bit of a whiny prick and this master plan he came up with. It's definitely the most interesting he's been since joining NXT.
Like think about in wrestling, like I'm sure we've had moments where it was all a lie and someone didn't actually attack someone, but like it's been a long time, and especially in NXT and the way they set it up, it was a pretty creative story, I thought.
I'm thinking Big Cass is the last one I can remember.
Is that in WWE?
Yeah, he faked it with Enzo, didn't he? He faked his.
Oh, yeah, okay. I feel like they did it a lot more.
I think it ended with a shark cage match with Big Show involved somehow. Yeah.
Was Paul Ellering involved? It's the shark cage.
Probably. We see Carmen Petrovich with Dion Lennox backstage, and Carmen says, "Oh, I don't know what to do about Ashanti." And Dion goes, "Look, we're friends, and I think Ashanti was genuinely trying to help you in your match last week. So I think you should apologize." If you remember, he kind of came out during the match with Nikita, and Carmen got pissed off and shoved him at the end. And Carmen goes, "Yes, you're right. I've watched it back and I know what he was trying to do. I'm going to go and apologize. Thanks, Dion." And gives him a big platonic hug when Ashanti walks in. And he's like, "You're my brother and you do that?" And then one of my favorite lines, "All right, well, I'm going to go around and hug all the other girls now and see how you feel about it." And he said, "I cut Nikita off, but now you know what? I'm going to text her." Oh. So he goes off and Carmen's like, "No," and runs on after him. And Dion says, "Why am I stuck in the middle of this? I'm just going to go back to reading books and minding my own business."
Mind your business, Dion. Dion, not Sanders. Yeah, this is more of like the NXT Degrassi, as we like to call it, but it's guilty pleasure. I don't spend a lot of my free time watching Love Island or Vanderpump or anything like that. So wrestling is the only show that if I get some of this content, I guess I have to watch it. And it's not good by any means, but I'm in. I'm still in. I'm just thinking, like, if you walked in and like your crush is hugging someone else, it's literally a hug. It's like, but
especially in 2024, I have so many female friends.
And I just love like, "Oh, y'all just hugging, eh? Okay, well, I'm gonna go hug all the other girls." Yeah,
I want to see that. I want to see just Ashanti going around. Hey Wren, hey Nikita, just giving big old hugs.
Like the end game is still they're gonna get together and everything will be fine. But for now, we gotta go through the struggle. I liked how they said this was over the weekend. The graphic right before it started, so it's like this wasn't today. It's like this was something that happened and we had to show you. It's like, oh man. So like it's gonna lead to a match, obviously, with Ashanti and Dion, I imagine. But
what's just funny is we establish sometimes that they do go back and watch last week's show, and you'll go, "Oh, she was just thanking him and gave him a hug."
Oh, he told you that you should actually talk to me. Oh, okay. And then problem solved.
Yeah.
They're fine. But anyways. So maybe we get Ashanti and Nikita teaming up again. Maybe he'll send that text back.
Dion and Carmen.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I liked Carmen does this thing on her social media where since NXT has been traveling, she does like a road diary. Okay. And I don't know if it was a joke or not, but she said going through the airport, bringing the swords. And I was like, wait a second. Do you actually, you got to carry on with your, never mind you forgetting your PR card, Davie. Have you tried going through airport security with a samurai sword?
Yeah. Yeah, not going to happen. We go to our next match. Sol Ruca and ZARIA taking on Metaphor, Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson. As Soul and ZARIA are deciding which one starts the match, Jakara just comes flying in with a drop kick to Ruca, so thus making Ruca the legal woman. Soul starts to ride Jakara's back like a surfboard. Lash comes in with an elbow to the back of Soul, and then ZARIA gets the tag, and Lash and ZARIA have a bit of a kind of test of strength. They do the running shoulder blocks, both trying to knock each other down. And then ZARIA gets Jakara up in a fireman's carry and is on like the second rope here when Soul stands on Jakara's back and jumps to the floor, taking out Lash. And then ZARIA picks up Jakara and dumps her out as well. This is a pretty good spot.
Yeah, like we've seen Soul, like you said, was doing the surfboard in the matches where she stands on them. But this is now standing on top of someone else while ZARIA is carrying them and then jumps to the outside onto Lash, mind you, all while wearing Vans. So, like, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I didn't think the Vans helped her. I thought there were a couple of times actually in this match where Soul looked a little less steady on her feet than she usually is.
I feel like Vans are skater shoes for a reason. And like, I think of all the years of people I know, mostly girls who were rocking those exact pair of Vans. But like, maybe I'm not much of a skater, but like, I feel like those shoes don't have much hops.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like they're pretty flat.
Oh,
they're
you wear that. If you go on a long walk wearing Vans, your legs feel it. So I can't imagine wrestling in them.
Yeah.
After the break, Lash and Jakara are double teaming Soul, and Jakara is isolating Soul for quite a while until she eventually makes the tag to ZARIA, who comes in with big clotheslines, suplexes, and a spear to Jakara, but Lash breaks up the pin. Both Lash and ZARIA are now attempting suplexes on each other, where ZARIA eventually hits the suplex, and Soul springboard splashes and goes for the pin when Jakara runs, jumps off the back of Soul to break it up whilst drop kicking ZARIA. ZARIA then goes for the spear again and almost spears Soul, but kind of just stops short, allowing Lash to kick Soul in the face with a big boot. ZARIA then gets dumped to the outside, and Jakara takes her out with a suicide dive, and this allows Lash to hit her finish, the kind of torture act bomb.
Booker called it the bougie bully drop, I think is what they're going with. It's a cool move, the Lucha face slam. A bit of an upset here, I think, with having the Meta Girls go over. But, I mean, they are the legit tag team, I guess. And I think it kind of furthers the story. So I thought this was pretty fun, especially that spot we talked about with the double surfboard jump throw thing. But like Metaphor, they keep getting better. ZARIA is still kind of new here, but already we're like, okay, wait, you're pretty powerful, you're pretty intense, and I'm already a really big fan. And I like this, and I think we're gonna see some rematches, maybe one-on-ones and stuff. But I'm wondering if ZARIA, like, would she be more interesting as a heel? Like if she were to feud with Soul and like just destroy people, because I think they're kind of waiting for that character arc for her, because she just looks the part, right?
I feel we're probably waiting for Roxanne to graduate and get that title on one of the baby faces, and ZARIA can attack Julia or whatever. I thought this was a bit of a mess, to be honest. I thought it was quite clunky. There were quite a few clunky moments, a bit of like awkward positioning. I definitely think Jakara and Lash are both improving, but I'm not seeing the chemistry between them as a tag team. I do outside the ring, and obviously they're sort of backstage segments and things like that. But when it comes to their actual wrestling as a tag team, I don't think they gel particularly well. And when you consider what we've seen with Julia and Stephanie Vaquer, who have only tagged a few times in NXT, and they've already got some double team moves and slip tags in and out. I'd love to see Jakara and Lash work on that a little bit. You know, Lash is a bit of a powerhouse. They should be trying things more often with Jakara, like jumping off her shoulders or stuff like that, or just a signature tag team move that they do together, because I don't think they've established that at all. And if we are keeping them as a tag team, and I think moving up to the main roster, they'll be way more suited as a tag team than singles. I think they should be working on that next.
Like, I kind of know what you mean. Like, I think Lash and Jakara have improved a lot, but at the same time, I think there's still some things that we could probably still like improve on, but I didn't mind it. It was kind of quick too. A thing with the CW NXT era thus far, I'm maybe a broken record, is I feel like we get a lot more wrestling, but we don't. Like every match has a commercial break that eats up a big chunk of the match. Like ever since they've been on the CW. Now I get it. TV, timing, all that kind of stuff. It takes me out of it. And I feel like no match on the CW since has like totally like hit. And I'm kind of like, we're going to have this TV special with New Year's Evil. And will it be the same thing? Or are we going to get like commercial free segments or something? Because so far the big matchups that they've hyped up since being on the CW, they kind of get ruined by half the match not being on TV, because you come back and then it's like, oh, here's the final stretch of it.
It's something I know it's unlikely to happen because, we're getting NXT on Netflix here in the new year, but US is still going to have it on CW. I just love to have them do similar to what Triller does with AEW, that we can have, if we're watching the Netflix version, we're getting commercial free and you just watch right through.
Is that wishful thinking? Yeah.
I think it's wishful thinking, but I do think it would help. But I know what you mean. I just think all of them are often short for time, but
yeah,
I think they are also, one of the things with NXT is just trying to, some of these people aren't experienced enough to be going that long.
Yeah.
And also it's developmental. So we are getting, as silly as these Carmen Ashanti skits are, they're kind of there for a reason, because they want to test people in different ways. So it does become a very fast show to watch because lots does happen, but it doesn't necessarily. I agree with you when it comes to the specials. I would like just a bit more time given to the matches, maybe fewer matches, fewer segments with a bit longer times.
We'll see
when it comes to those specials.
Yeah,
we see Tyson and Tyreek. Tyreek was pissed last week, getting beaten by Hank and Tank, and was angry at Tyson for shaking their hands. And Tyson's going, hey, what's wrong? Why, that's bad sportsmanship. You don't treat them like that. Like, I like Hank and Tank. And Tyreek goes, I don't care about Hank and Tank. And I don't want to be like that. I don't care. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win matches. And Tyson says, well, you're just coming across like a bad loser. And Wes Lee is watching on and says, no, you know what? Tyreek's right. And you should be keeping that energy. If you want to get anywhere, if you want to win championships, you should have that attitude. I'm kind of hoping this is leading to Tyson and Tyreek being heavies for Wes Lee and having a bit of a trios. Is that what you got from this? Yeah,
I kind of did too. Like, it's the classic, the one baby face who did shake his hand. It was Tyson, right? And then you have Tyreek being like, no, I'm tired of being buddy. Like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win. And so far we haven't been doing that. So like, he's upset, and it's kind of classic storyline as it cuts to Vic asking Book what his thoughts on it. And Book is like, hey, I'll say it again. Checks and championships, right? Like, that's what it's about, and not about friendships and all that kind of stuff. But I did get the vibe that maybe Wes, even though he's saying, I don't need friends and neither do you, hey, maybe we should be friends. Maybe we should be a team and things. Yeah. So we haven't seen a whole lot from Tyreek and Tyson. There's still a long way to go with them, but this could be a right step in the right direction, because right now they're just kind of bland baby faces. So this is something to do with them. So it wasn't bad.
We go to our next match. Jada Parker taking on Wren Sinclair. Jada hits her teardrop in the corner and a Falcon Arrow, but Wren kicks out on one. Jada is then applying a bunch of different submissions to Wren. They both start to trade forearms when Wren gets the advantage and starts hitting some palm strikes, and then a nice-looking double underhook suplex. OTM and NQCC, who are all on the outside, start to brawl, and they kind of just brawl away. And then Jada goes for the hypnotic, but gets caught with a roll-up, and then Jada hits the Judas effect, essentially, the back elbow, which he used recently on Lola Vice, followed by the hypnotic for the win.
Yeah, broken record again, still not sold on the hypnotic being a complete finisher, but now she added that elbow first. So it's like, that's what knocks you out. And then you basically get hit in the face with her bum.
Double tap, right?
Yeah, essentially. So, a pretty quick match here, but I think Jada, like, clearly they see something in here. They put her in some big prominent positions. She does improve not only just the wrestling, but like as a whole character. So I'm really enjoying every time she's on the screen. And same goes with Wren. You know, like I didn't expect her to win this match, but she's totally stepped up. She's we've said it before, like a Chelsea Green vibe going with her, where it's like she's funny and she gets over the comedy, but then she can actually kind of wrestle. So like week by week, Wren becoming just a great character to watch. So this wasn't necessarily like my match of the night or anything, but I kind of liked these two tangling, and I think they're kind of waiting what to do with Jada, whether it's the North American title here. Roxanne still has that title wrapped up. Does Jada just eventually go up to the main roster without ever winning a title here? I'm not quite sure, but
I see her in the North American picture at
Yeah.
some point. She's starting to become way more comfortable and smooth in like her finisher is looking better. I still don't love it, but it is looking a bit more devastating than it used to.
Yeah.
I think she's starting to develop a bit more of a smoothness. Interesting match to book because both were, lost at deadline, but also had good showings. I thought I didn't really give my thoughts on deadline, but I quite enjoyed that underground match again. I think it was another good showing. And NXT, I think all their underground matches have been pretty good. And Wren Sinclair was pretty fun. And I thought definitely got the crowd behind her. And I think I felt the women's Iron Survivor in particular was the best use of the penalty box I think we've seen, because you had Soul, basically her getting pinned right at the end. Like she could have, if she wasn't pinned, she'd have potentially won that match, but she couldn't get out in time. And I thought allowed for some quite fun comedy with Wren, where she finally gets out of the box and then is rolled up immediately and goes back in the box.
Great.
And I know Booker made some comments on it in this match. So I think both are getting better and better in ring and character wise, but Jada is clearly the big project at the moment.
For sure.
We see Tatum, Gigi, and Shotzi, and they say they're outcasts, losers, and Shotzi says, but badasses. And she says she sees a lot of herself in them. Tatum says, you brought us together, Shotzi, and now I don't have to play on my own. And now they want to take out Fatal Influence. Gigi says she despises JC, but knows everything about her. And now she's found new friends to be with. And Tatum goes, and I'll do to them just like I do with my dolls. I'll rip their heads off. Dolls out, balls out. They'll never see it coming.
Put it on a shirt. Shotzi, put it on a shirt.
Yeah.
Dolls out, balls out. Yeah, they kind of called themselves the Outcasts, even though we have a group called that, sort of. The kind of the goth girls, essentially, all hanging out. The tattooed girls all hanging out, playing with dolls, and then it cuts to Fatal Influence. They love doing this in NXT lately, where it's, hey, we're gonna play a video, but then it ends with someone also watching that video that goes into this segment.
So I just like the idea that every locker room in wrestling has, the multiple cameras that you can watch, the multiple feeds.
Right.
And it's just Fatal Influence have gone, let's see what's going on in the Shotzi dressing room right now, and just happen to watch that as we go to their feed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fatal Influence are watching, and they says they don't have what we have. When the unholy union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn walk in, and they say that they see no unity between them, and they just keep laughing. And Fatal Influence calls them freaks and walk off. So I imagine we're getting a unholy union match against Fatal Influence.
Yeah, you'd imagine this was set
probably
up.
Taped.
Yeah, probably taping as we're speaking right now. But you'd imagine that's why they were down there. I think that's fine. Those two were, people down here in NXT, and they don't really, I'm assuming, don't really do too much right now on the main roster. So come on down to here. I always like seeing Isla Dawn on TV, so I have no issues with that. And as long as it's going to eventually go to Fatal Influence versus the don't call them Outcasts. So Not the best use. This is almost a little too Tony Khan for my liking. Fallon is your North American champion, so we're gonna book her in some tag team matches to set up for another tag team match. It's like, okay.
Yeah, unless it could be JC and I imagine it will be JC and Jasmine in the tag.
Because it eventually got to go to Tatum or someone versus, one of the three, Gigi, Tatum, or Shotzi versus Fallon for that title at New Year's Evil, I imagine.
There's just some things I want to get rid of. We're moving into a new year. Let's eliminate some things. I'm fed up of laughing. I'm fed up of people who are spooky, laughing, cackling like they're a witch because they think it makes them evil.
I mean, they are witches, so I know what you mean, yeah.
But it's I just find it lazy. What's so fun? What are you laughing at? Why are you laughing? You just went from the goth girls who are all playing with dolls laughing, and then we got the witches. I want to get rid of that, and I want to get rid of the creepy head tilt that goes, oh, look, I'm scary because I tilt my head. Get rid of that. All of that rubbish.
It's such a thing in wrestling, right?
And
it's not original. It's not really that good. I'm not really into the Shotzi being with Gigi and Tatum either. It's like you said, it's pretty like copy paste. Like they basically said it in the promo. Hey, we're weird. We all get along. We're freaks. It's like, I don't know. Kind of like come up with some other things, but
we then get what I thought was an awesome video about the history of the NXT Women's Division, going through all 12 years of this championship, starting with Paige, going through like Sasha Banks and Charlotte, Asuka, Shayna, like pretty much, I think they focus on every single women's champion here in NXT, and just saying that this is the best women's division in the world, and therefore, if you are the NXT women's champion, you are the best women's champion in the world, essentially. But I thought this was great. I loved how they didn't, like we've seen in the past where people not working for the company anymore, they don't necessarily highlight, but they highlighted pretty clearly everyone. And this built into a promo for, at New Year's Evil, 2 women fight for this prestigious championship with Julia versus Roxanne. But I thought this was great.
Yeah, no, it was the we've been getting the progressive insurance. It would have been good for is this Flo, Progressive Flo, the
Match
girl.
Flo.
Yeah, we could have had her throw this through. You mentioned like they usually shy away from showing people who aren't in the company. Maybe they couldn't, because look at the people you just named. Paige, the 4 horsewomen. There's only like 2 of them right now that they maybe would want to talk about. Asuka is still there. Shayna, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, they show as well. Like more than half are not in the company anymore, yet they still went through them all. I thought this was pretty cool too. It was a quick little video, but highlighting and making you like remember. And maybe some people watching are not familiar with like, hey, NXT really was kicking ass and paving the way with women's wrestling. I'd say like this video, like Paige really setting the stage, and then the 4 horsewomen like knocking it out the park and really bringing some eyes to NXT and the women's. And then of course Asuka, Shayna, Mandy. I like how we glossed over that one a little bit, but yeah, Roxanne. Again, I'm really looking forward to Roxanne and Julia, and they weren't featured on the show, but this video was telling you, hey, this is important and there's history here. So it was really cool.
Yeah. We go to our NXT Tag Team Championship match. Axiom taking on Gallus. And as Axiom is making his entrance, he collapses. All whilst doing the blurry entrance run.
So great. Oh, hilarious.
Frazer is in his face shield as well, because he's got a deviated septum.
Did he get this from JC a la Cody Rhodes or what? But yeah, face mask on Frazer.
So Frazer with the face mask, Axiom's all taped up, selling the effects from the match with Oba earlier in the night. And match starts, Wolfgang tags in and just drops a knee across the nose of Frazer.
That was nasty, actually. Yeah. Like that was pretty. It's a great combo. I don't know. Like, have we seen them do that? Backslide, and while the guy is trapped, he knee drops him. Like, pretty dirty looking move, I thought.
Axiom tags himself in and they start to double team. They do their, their quick just cutting down of it always reminds me of those, you said earlier about Oba just swatting away people. I love how Fraxiom are like, the hobbits taking down a cave troll when they're just attacking these bigger men here with their double teams. Frazer and Axiom are then doing their tandem suicide dives, but Axiom takes out Joe Coffey by mistake. And then Axiom comes back in the ring and collapses momentarily before being taken out by a spear from Wolfgang.
It was like a spear rock bottom. We've seen him do it. His spear is he like tackles you and then slams you.
It's more like a rugby tackle kind of thing.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
After the break, Frazer makes the tag. Axiom makes the tag to Frazer, who's showing off his speed, hits his beautiful moonsault into the reverse DDT to Coffey. Sling Blade followed by a frog splash, but Wolfgang breaks up the pin. There's a swanton off the top from Wolfgang to Frazer, but Axiom breaks up the pin. And then Gallus sets up for their finisher when Axiom comes in with the golden ratio to Coffey. And then as Frazer is on the back of Wolfgang, he goes the golden ratio to Wolfgang. However, accidentally takes out Frazer.
Oh.
And then Wolfgang catapults Axiom into a Canadian destroyer on Coffey, which looked great. And then there was a Poisonrana from Frazer to Wolfgang. Axiom blind tags in and hits Wolfgang with the Spanish fly. And then as Joe is picking up Mark on the outside, Axiom takes them both out with a swanton to the floor as Frazer hits the Phoenix Splash to Wolfgang for the win.
As Vic Joseph's call is, the Houdinis of the NXT Tag Team Division and champions. I think maybe I misspoke. I think this might be my favorite match of this show. Yeah. And wow, I can't believe I just said a Gallus match is my favorite match of the night. But shout out NXT UK, because that's what this was, baby. NXT UK highlight match right here. This was so great. I mean, Axiom, Fraxiom, the whole story of since deadline and then setting this up. And then I know of all people you would appreciate, because we joked Cino was on for the deadline review, and it was the image of Frazer with the broken face and Axiom is like hilarious. But then when they set up the match last week, Frazer was like, hey, at least you have a mask. So I thought Axiom did his best like body movement, because you can't see his face is smashed in. So instead they like taped him up. They had him walking around like he's drunk, falling over, where the ref is checking on him constantly. I thought he did a really good job. And it also like, it was funny, but then also added like some drama to the match. Like, I don't know if necessarily I thought Gallus would be the ones to take the titles from them, but like at some points he was nowhere near and somehow made the save for some of these pinfall attempts. So yet again, Axiom and Nathan Frazer proving they are the best tag team going in the biz today, because they made me really enjoy a Gallus match. So yeah, if they can do that, they could probably do anything. This was probably my highlight of the show. Yeah.
I love this thing they're doing where they're overworking themselves, and I kind of think the title should just change on a random TV episode where finally their luck runs out, right. Because I think the last few matches they've had where, they've done double duty or whatever, I have bought that the titles could switch. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking here, maybe this is it. Like Axiom is so fucked and look at them. And I think it should almost, these battle wounds should grow, like every week they should have more things just stapled and put back together with super glue, just until eventually they do drop these titles. But I think it makes every defense like super exciting, because I feel like it could drop at any moment.
The crowd really got into it. The crowd were biting on the stuff. And you know what? Like I'm not shading Gallus, because Wolfgang was doing his swantons. They were hitting all sorts of like they were actually trying to, because they're like, man, this is the best tag team going. So yeah, I really enjoyed this match, and the comedy stuff really works, but the wrestling is so fast, like connects so good. I hope these guys don't break up. I hope we get them on the main roster, because you get these people, you get these guys talking about Penta possibly coming to WWE. Imagine Lucha Bros versus these guys. you're gonna have to watch on like 0.5 speed to make notes on these matches. Like these guys are so incredible. Axiom yet again proving they're untouchable in this tag team, and I don't want them to lose the titles anytime soon. Next week, kind of jumping ahead, next week we will get a number one contendership for the tag team titles at New Year's Evil. So like the title defenses are going to continue, and I'm strapped in. I'm ready because this was another one. They knocked it out the park.
We see Javon Evans with Hank and Tank backstage, and they're basically all going, "Weren't we great last week? Yeah, we were so good. You won your tag match." And then Javon says, "Yeah, I think you guys will be tag champs next year." Javon is talking about the year he had, how he debuted this year, and just all the stuff that's happened in this year, being main event on his first PLE at Heatwave and almost winning the Iron Survivor, facing Randy Orton. A lot of his things were losses.
You lost everything you just mentioned. You lost, actually. But yeah, go on.
But basically saying about all the kind of achievements, I guess, young in its first year, when Ethan Page storms past, visibly upset by these guys reveling in their success.
I did like Hank's shirt. No, sorry, Tank. It said, "Live, laugh, honk, honk."
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
We go to my favorite segment of the evening.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you love this.
Charlie Dempsey and Lexis King training. Now, Lexis wanted another shot at the Heritage Cup against Charlie, and Dempsey told him, "I will, but you've got to go through our training first." So he pulls out a deck of cards, and every card is a different workout they need to do. So we've got this great 80s montage of them topless doing these workouts. Big Top Gun vibes right here.
Yes, think Top Gun volleyball scene. Just
yes,
sweaty.
exactly.
You know, the only thing missing was Charlie's mustache, really, was what was missing in this segment. He shaved it too soon. But they're doing the workouts. He's got Lexis King. Like, Lexis King sells at beginning, like, ooh, he's like a little scared and a little nervous because Charlie's like, yeah, we're going to start with some Hindu push-ups and like all these different things, the mace swings. But like, they're both in great shape. I'd say Lexis King is a little bit bigger than Charlie already. So I'm not necessarily buying that he'd be like worried because I feel like they both are in like pretty good shape. But
Dempsey's got that neck bridge though.
Oh yeah,
going, hasn't he? Yeah.
But it's just two bros broing out, getting sweaty, shirtless, just great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just broing out, just Chad bro chilling, just so.
Hey,
chilling.
Liberace's cool, man.
I just watched Austin Powers. Actually, there's a Liberace joke in there too. But yeah. Anyways, this was great. I'm looking forward to the match. And is it too easy to say like Lexis King should now cheat and win? Like he should just knock him out?
Going?
Like I'm liking Lexis King now, and I feel like the next step is for him to eventually turn on us again. Like to be like, I was joking. I'm joking. I just want my title or want the cup or whatever. But yeah, Heritage Cup.
Yeah.
Very
so
early.
Dempsey was impressed by Lexis King and his workouts, quote unquote. So gives him a Heritage Cup title shot.
Like it's wrestling. We're used to guys not wearing shirts all the time anyways, but they were just extra sweaty, extra buff, just broing it out. Yeah. Love it.
We go to Ethan Page, who comes out to the ring looking very somber. He's got his glasses on.
Sad Ethan.
And he says, yes, everyone's booing him. Yep, you all have the right to boo me. You all paid for your ticket. You can boo me. It's the same energy I've been getting at home. I deserve it. Nobody understands the journey I've taken to get here in this ring. Promises I've made my family. I promised my daughter I'd win the big one, and I did. I did it here in NXT. I became champion. Not only did I become champion, I did it in record time. And I went through 18 years of hell to keep my promise to my daughter. And I did. I did it for her, for my son and my wife. Yeah, you want to boo. You want to cheer. You do what you want, but right now I want to talk to my wife. Without you, Viviana, there's no Ethan Page. I wouldn't be stood in this ring. These people wouldn't be having the time of their lives watching me without you. I thought it was a quite...
What?
They're all watching him. I thought
Yeah.
Ethan was pretty slick here with that. He goes, I got to live my dream because of you. I did it, but now every time I lose, you lose. My son loses. My daughter loses. Everyone who supported me loses. And my daughter, I come home and she looks through my bag looking for the NXT Championship, and it's not there. And my wife sends me videos of my son crying. What is it? Like, babe, look, your son's crying again. Stop being a failure.
I mean, yeah, he said earlier when he's like, oh, yes, this is the treatment I've been getting at home. I imagine this guy comes home.
Boo! Little kid just sobbing in the corner. Why is my daddy such a loser?
Loser.
Goes, I see the look of disappointment on my wife's face, and I don't know if I love this anymore. To be honest, I've just lost my smile.
Ah, he said the thing.
He said
in
the
the
thing.
in the place.
In the building.
In Lowell.
And you guys can mock me for being emotional when Javon Evans comes out. And he's like, hey, man, look, I apologize for how I was backstage. It can't be good hearing about others' accomplishments, but you got to realize that's what you've been doing since you've been here. You walked in with that cocky ego, but Ethan, that's not you. I know he was broing all the time. I know the real Ethan Page, bro. I've seen the real Ethan Page, bro. I saw the heat wave, bro. And it's not what you did in the match. It's what you did after the match. You looked at your family in the eyes and said, I love you. And the joy you had when you saw your family, it wasn't a regular smile. It was a proud dad, a proud husband smile. It was the smile of someone who busted their ass for 18 years to have that moment. You deserve to be here. They deserve to be here. So drop the all ego and be the real Ethan Page.
Dead ass,
I'm
bro.
proud of you. NXT's proud of you. We're all proud of you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And Page thanks him. He says, yes, you're right. Everything you said is clear to me. I shouldn't be worried about losing my smile. I should be worried about taking yours. And he decks Javon Evans in the face with the microphone and then grabs a steel chair, wraps it round the neck, and he Pillmanizes him. He stomps on the chair, and we're left with Javon Evans spitting up blood.
Just blood air going everywhere.
Blood going everywhere. Teeth flying.
Yeah, Vic Joseph with a great line when they came back. Like, I'm pretty sure Javon Evans' teeth are still laying in the ring there. There was blood everywhere. Now, this was fantastic, and I would say the positives. Ethan Page, with the tie into Shawn Michaels, yet again, opening the book of Shawn, looking in, okay, what have we? Oh, we're in Lowell. We're in this arena. Okay, well, let's do You're Losing Your Smile. Perfect use of that. Just so great. Ethan Page, yet again. I don't like Ethan Page the way he has been booked in NXT when I know he's capable of a lot more, especially promo work. I always thought he was so good in any of the indie shows I went to. AEW never really got to shine, but he's always been just a great talker. And I thought this was one of those promos where it finally, like, at one point you're like, hey, what's going to happen here? Is he going to be babyface? Is is Josh going to come out? Is something going to, like, what's going to happen? And then it just took this dastardly turn and in the right direction that it should be. He should be a heel. This is something he should be. And this is a great little program for the both of them. I think it maybe was a little telling that Javon came out wearing a red bandana. So there will be bloods coming with this angle here. But is the blood capsule the new blading? Because the cameras, we watch a lot of Botchamania. There's a lot of times where the cameras, specifically AEW, where they shouldn't be on the person when they're blading. Here, the camera zoomed in and Javon's like trying to scramble, like, no, don't put this chair around. You just see him go in his pocket, pull it out, starts chewing on this thing. There's blood already like circulating through his mouth, and then the stomp happens, and then he spits out all the blood. it's nitpicking, but I'm like, man, the camera's right on you.
Look,
there. But it was still great.
I've not got a problem at all with fake blood. Like, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah,
but
I don't want these guys to kill
I don't want to
themselves.
see the magic trick. How it's
Yeah,
done,
yeah.
And I think
my only gripe.
You read Brett's book or you hear about Sean, how they prided themselves of no one being able to catch them blade.
Yeah.
Like what Sean would hide it in his mouth and nick himself as he's doing a moonsault, and Brett would always get away with it because no one could ever catch him. And I think that's the thing. It's for something that is, quite heavily produced in WWE, it should be knowing when to cut away. It should be practiced. How can we do this slicker than whether we try and have the blood capsule in the mouth earlier or what? Like, it's because it was a shame because I thought the visual looked great. Like, I've never seen that, someone spitting out blood from this spot. I actually thought the visual, and when it comes to the video packages for the match, it's going to look really good. It was just, you saw him palming it. You saw the blood coming out before the chair spots even happened, which it was just a shame.
You know what? Like, that's just nitpicking and just a little gripe. But overall, I really enjoyed this segment. Like, I think it really helps Ethan Page with this story. I think it really helps Javon Evans. He sounded good on the mic too, like as he always does. And I really enjoyed this. It sounds like we don't because of we're really just nitpicking, but also, like, we watch this week by week. We're nerds about this shit. I'm sure not a lot of people caught this. I'm sure like most people watching this weren't looking at, hey, is he putting something in his mouth right now? But the visual of him spitting out the blood was pretty crazy. And I have no problem with the fake blood and everything. But we're in the world of HD. We're in the world of, like, if you do know you're going to do these things, you do know you're going to blade, just do it when like the camera's not like right in your face or whatever. But overall, I still really enjoyed this segment. And again, like, this is clearly going to go towards, I imagine, maybe New Year's Evil, Ethan Page versus Javon. And I know we've kind of seen it before and obviously in the Heatwave multi-man match, but this was exactly what we needed with Ethan Page. I needed to see a bit more evolution. I needed to not just be, hey, I'm NX me and this. I need you to be like the next step, and I need you to be evil and crushing the guy's neck.
Really violent.
Exactly.
He's like, Sean.
So this was like, I know Ethan Page has already been champion, but like, this was one of my favorite things he's done thus far in NXT.
Now, what I want to know was because the way I saw it, that you've got those promos, like the Mark Henry, where it's all building to a swerve.
Yeah.
Or I almost took this as being kind of genuine. And then, but just imagine if you were like saying there's some like 20-year-old, you're like, who's got a way more successful podcast than you.
Right.
And you're like, oh, it's just not working. I'm thinking of hanging up the mic. And this kid, this 19-year-old, this 20-year-old is going, Braden, look at me. I'm proud of you. We're all proud of you. You'd be like, yo, fuck off. Wouldn't you? So I think it kind of makes sense. This veteran of 18 years, like this grown man is having this kid going, I'm proud of you, bro. Like, it would irk you. It would wind you up. So part of me almost thinks like the beginning of the promo was genuine. Mm-hmm. And then this kid just like really pissed him off. And he's like, nah.
I loved it. I thought it was great. And I know that we'll get some good stuff out of it, whether it's promos or matches from the two of them. So I expect this to be a program going into New Year's Evil. And I'm all for it. I thought they both knocked it out the park. But this is the Ethan Page I've been waiting for since he joined NXT. And like I said, I think this is the best thing he's done thus far.
We then cut to Trick Williams, who's like, oh man, Javon, I hope you're okay. But anyways.
They're like, hey, Trick, you're getting ready for your match. Yeah, thoughts and prayers for Javon. Anyways, I'm still going to be just completely, okay. You're not friends? You're not boys? All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
He says, we all saw how Eddy cheated his way to get here, and I'm proving I am the man to carry this brand. I am the fighting spirit. And Oba Femi comes in, wishes him luck, and says, whoever wins faces me. And 3 weeks' time at New Year's Evil, I'll be taking the championship from someone, and I hope it's you. And Trick goes, I hope so too. It's like, No, don't say that, Trick. You're
Yeah.
saying, I hope you take the title from me. But yeah.
I like that Oba showed up and is kind of like, hey, I hope I face you because they had the promo off, last week or whatever. So it kind of makes sense. So I hope we get that match too.
We get a video promo from Stephanie Vaquer, which is subtitled, and it's a message for Cora Jade. And she says she didn't become the best luchadora in the world overnight. And Cora signed in 2021 and became one of the faces of the new NXT. But now I am here and I got where I wanted. I found my way and will be everything that Cora wished she could be. And next week, I will take you to meet hell.
Damn. Then they announced that next week it is Stephanie Vaquer versus Cora Jade. Also announced No Quarter Catch Crew, Hank and Tank, Tony D and Tony D's family, and OTM in a 4-way tag #1 contendership. And then Davie. Oh my God. I know we're not doing a show next week because it's Christmas Eve. I know it's a tape show, but this is one of the biggest bombshells Vic Joseph has ever dropped on NXT TV. Next week, Christmas Eve on the CW on NXT, Santa Claus is coming to town.
What?
Yeah. Are you ready? I can't believe it. I'm going to be tuned in to watch this. So yeah, Santa will be here on NXT. Plus,
will that be Mick Foley?
I kind of hope so. I haven't read ahead. They're probably wrapping up their filming right now, but yeah, I think Stephanie versus Cora is pretty cool. I like this video with Stephanie, and the subtitles is pretty cool. She comes across as a star like right away, just from the look of her and everything. So I'm kind of interested in seeing that match. The 4-way sounds great. But
yeah, who do you see winning the 4-way? It was what? OTM, No Quarter Catch Crew, Hank and Tank, and
I kind of think with the promo earlier with Hank and Tank saying like, hey, in 2025 we should win. I know it won't be 2025 yet, but like maybe it's a good shot for them. Selfishly, as just a wrestling fan, I'd like to see No Quarter Catch Crew versus those guys again, because I know that match would bang. I don't necessarily think OTM. I think they would be like the worst case scenario. So maybe I'll go with the family.
I feel OTM and No Quarter Catch Crew kind of write each other off because they've been feuding. So I think Hank and Tank maybe have the most steam, and they can, just have another good match and a loss. But
I don't see anyone winning against Fraxium next week. Anyways, we got to shout out Tony D'Angelo. Because I saw on postwrestling.com today that Tony D is going to be in some sort of TV show. He got some sort of gig outside of wrestling in the acting world. I had it open, and of course I don't now. But Tony D joining cast of Criminal Mastermind in guest spot on a TV show. Wild Cards, I think. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Very cool. An NXT wrestler on a show. It's like a new era if they're letting WWE superstars do a lot more like outside stuff, right? Like it seems like it's maybe not something that they would allow people to do as much. So I think that's pretty cool. I've never heard of this show, but Tony D, hopefully he's a mob guy in the show. That would like, is that just not like the casting?
I feel he is. Like, I just assume he is.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume he's Tony D, like a mob guy in this thing. But yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, Santa coming to town next week. I'm really excited about this.
Well, let's go on to the main event. It's for the NXT Championship. Eddy Thorpe challenging Trick Williams. They both go to the outside early with chops across the chest against the barricade. Trick in the ring goes for his leg lariat, but gets strung up on the top rope. After the break, we see Trick hitting some flapjacks. He hits the bookend, but Eddy kicks out. And then Eddy comes back with this jumping elbow drop. Trick then gets him up in for the Death Valley driver. And this is where I noticed the referee was kind of getting into position. And I was wondering if it was this Death Valley driver that was originally meant to take him out, because referee just very awkwardly moved into a strange position right after. Sorry. Oh, you're muted, Braden.
He ended up hitting like a attitude adjustment.
It was then, yeah. Essentially, he hit the AA, the DVD, and then Eddy hits a DDT, which takes out the ref. It all looked a little clunky here.
You're right, because as soon as the spot went to the ref after, I was like, oh, you clearly were trying to do that with the fireman carry spot.
Yeah.
But something happened because it kind of did look like Trick and Eddy and the ref all were like, shit, okay,
let's try something else.
And like all the power to them for eventually going back to it and doing it, but it did look a little like funny.
A new referee then runs out. There's a series of running boots in the corner from Eddy, and then Trick flies back with a trick shot, and they both lie down, and they both kind of land on top of each other. So all their shoulders are down. The other referee comes too. So both referees count 1, 2, 3. And as the show ends, Ava's coming out. Both refs are arguing over who's won, and the credits roll. A bit of an awkward ending. Because not just sort of the like the finish aside, but I just thought the finish was done very awkwardly. Eddy's feet were also under the ropes.
Yeah.
Therefore neither pin should be counted. And it was, especially on the replay, you really watch them positioning themselves to get the 4 shoulders down. I didn't like this match.
Yeah, I didn't like this either. I thought the build with the Eddy stuff last week and how he got here was really creative, but I think they were a little overzealous, a little too like, let's try something different and get a double count. And I don't think it ended up looking good, especially with the camera angle. You just see Trick pinning him with 2 refs. And I'm like, why are the 2 refs counting this? You just need 1. And then they go, oh, look, the replay shows
Eddy's
Trick's
arm goes over, doesn't it? Yeah.
And then like to add like just again, super nitpicking here. Eddy looked like his feet were under the ropes. Also, Eddy's shoulder was not down. He was not down at all. So really he should be champion right now. But I thought this was a bit of a wet fart finish for the show and the match. I didn't necessarily like the match either. I think Eddy Thorpe, since turning heel, has been a bit more interesting, but a lot of his moves are the same since turning. It's not like anything really changed in his like arsenal or anything. I will say, since going live, they have posted on WWE's Twitter. Ava comes out and the referees are like, no, Trick's the champion. No, Eddy's the champion. It's a bit of a Royal Rumble 05 moment. And Ava basically says, sorry, but Trick is still champion. And
it's
Eddy gets,
a draw, so Trick is champ.
And they have posted this video, and it's very similar to Saturday night's main event with Kevin Owens and Triple H, because Shawn Michaels comes out and gets involved, and Eddy shoves him. So Shawn Michaels versus Eddy Thorpe at New Year's Evil. Is that too far-fetched? Yeah. So Trick is your champion for anyone, counting scores at home. I thought the way they were going to do this is because they would rematch it for next week. I hope they don't make it a triple threat. I think that devalues the build that we've already established for the, like, if you will, dream match of Oba versus Trick for NXT. I think adding Eddy into that mix kind of waters that down a little bit, especially after watching this match. It did not do much for me, and I thought it was a little sloppy. I didn't think both guys didn't necessarily look good. I didn't think the camera people looked good. I didn't think the refs looked good.
Yeah.
I didn't think Ava looked good. Booker T and Vic Joseph on commentary. Booker T had me howling here. He's like, Eddy was smart in doing this. Maybe Ava should just do her job. Ava, the PC has a lot of cameras. Why didn't you see that no one attacked him? Like, what? How did you get fooled? Like, I think he started saying, like, maybe people need to look in Ava, maybe she needs to do her job, essentially. And I was like, storyline wise, he's not wrong. This was definitely not a highlight of the show. And
this might have been the weakest match on the show.
It was.
Look, I see so much in Trick Williams, and I think everyone does, right? He's got just a star quality about him. He's very slick on the mic and huge potential, but his matches haven't been good. Outside of really Ilya Dragunov, who it's Ilya.
Mm-hmm.
What good matches has he had?
I
The
agree.
Mello match was a huge letdown. The Ethan Page matches haven't been great. The Ridge one might have been one of his better matches, to be honest. And I'm not saying it was anything fantastic. And it's just making this, whereas you've got, Fraxium, these tag champions where everyone they're against, they're having awesome matches against. Roxanne, I think, is similar. It's not been good. Eddy Thorpe isn't an interesting wrestler to go against him. And we've got, Oba, who's going to be great and a dominant champion, but I still don't think you're necessarily going to get those work rate matches out of him as a champion. Wes Lee is in a weird role as a heel. It's part of me, it's like, it's a shame Penta isn't coming into NXT, because I think the men's division is really lacking at the top here. I do hope a Josh Alexander comes in, because I think he's someone who it's very hard to have a bad match with Josh Alexander, and he'd be someone who you put right in the top of that mix. But I just think this Trick Reign match quality wise has really been a bit of a dud.
Yeah, I feel like it's not even, it's an honest critique. And if you've listened, we do this show every week. We've been supporting this guy for a long, long time. And I think he's one of the best talkers in like the company, like full stop, just the company. But I think maybe they're just going to coast with, hey, you're a decent wrestler and you're a great talker, and that's fine. Whereas I haven't really enjoyed a lot of his matches. Like the match that comes to mind, yeah, he had some matches with Ilya, but like Ilya could wrestle a doll and it would be a great match. The 4-way at Heatwave, which we were at, it had 3 other people in it that attributed to the match, right? So I feel like a lot of the other Trick matches, a lot of his title defenses have just not been hitting for me. And considering the tag division here in NXT, the tag champions are so good. The women's champion is just putting on like bangers and bangers. It makes the world title picture feel a lot lower. And again, that's not like disrespecting Trick or anything, because I think he's been trying to bust his ass. He's been working on it. He cuts promos like the promo last week with Eddie and stuff. Like I just, still this one did not hit.
Working with people better than him.
Yeah.
And I don't really feel he has been for the most
that's
part.
fair. Like the Ilya stuff was someone who was all, in ring.
Like the Pete Dunne matches were good, right? Like
yeah. That's fair. Like again, he's had some good stuff. It just, this was pretty dull. It was just like the Ridge one. There was like, it's just boring. Maybe it was the opponent. I'm not too sure. I hope we don't go back to this. I hope it's not a 3-way. I hope it's just Oba versus Trick. And dare I say, I hope Oba beats him and Trick, I don't know, goes to the main roster, goes back with Mello. I really don't know. I still really like Trick. I'm still in his corner, but this was probably the worst part of the show. And this was your world title defense.
And executed poorly.
And the stupid finish, like just ending on like a whimper of like, oh, that's how you end the show.
I mean, I think at this point I can see it being a 3-way and either having that, to extend it to the actual PLE when you have maybe Oba and Trick 1-on-1, or do we have Oba pin Eddie and Trick is chasing Oba then? I don't know, but I would see New Year's Eve, I'd see Julia and Roxanne being the clear main event there, especially with that video package today. I think really that has to main event that. And absolutely. I really hope it gets more time than last time.
Like the stuff with Eddie shoving Shawn Michaels, like I joked, like we can't go to Shawn versus Eddie because of all the people. Like
I think last time they did this was with Grayson Waller and Shawn brought in Johnny Gargano to be in his place. Now, Johnny's obviously a heel now doing the tag thing, so it won't be him. But who is there on main roster that Shawn could bring down to kind of represent Shawn?
NXT, I don't know.
NXT alumni.
Yeah, it would be Johnny, but he's too busy being mean. I thought Johnny. Side note: Johnny in that promo with Ciampa saying, "What did he say to the Guns? It's so great that you Machine Guns finally got your flowers. Unfortunately, it's on your tombstone or grave."
It was at your funeral. Like, yeah.
Look him, great. I don't know. I don't know who.
I mean, how far off is it? Like, could Ilya be someone coming back soon? Could that be I can't remember how bad his injury was. I feel it was relatively recent, but trying to think who else there is. You could maybe bring down Mello, to take him on. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. What's X-Pac?
Okay.
Get some other Sean friends.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind this episode. I thought it was pretty good. Like, it had some stuff I liked and it had some stuff I didn't like. And I'll reiterate that I think the main world title match, main event, was probably my least favorite part of the whole show. Yeah. Even the segment with Ashanti and Carmen and Dion Lennox was more entertaining to me personally than this main event.
I agree. I 100% agree.
The wrestling was that we got on the show was pretty good, pretty decent, with Oba versus Axiom and then Fraxiom and Gallus, and even the women had some decent matches. So yeah, I think the changes need to come with the world title picture here. With what we do with Trick, I'm not too sure, but Eddy Thorpe is definitely not the answer for that.
Yeah. On another note, I really loved the setting again. I thought the venue looked really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of ballroom feel. Again, looks completely different from main roster, but getting out of that PC. And I thought this crowd were really good tonight. They sounded loud. They seemed to know what was going on. I thought it was a good setting again, and hope they do more on the road like they've been doing.
Absolutely. Like, I know they'll be flip-flopping of going back and forth with Orlando and stuff, but this was the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, and I looked at WrestleTix. They said the setup was just shy of 2,000, and like it looked packed. It looked pretty loud. It sounded loud. Like the people knew the characters and everything. I think going forward, they should do a lot more of these kinds of shows, like going outside your comfort zone of your same, 50 to 100 people every week. Go elsewhere and see how these people can do. So I like the setting and the look of it too. I thought it made it stand out a little bit.
Well, let's go over to our feedback. We always post feedback over on our Poison Rana Facebook group. Just search Poison Rana. You'll find the page, and that'll lead us to our private group where we can post memes and feedback.
Yes. And like, we have the group, we have the page, and you can like us and like the page and everything. We post stuff, but there is a group and we all share stuff and feedback threads and everything. So please join the group.
And we start with Magan, who says, Axiom had his Jordan flu game by working twice tonight. Nate returned the favor from Deadline by retaining the tag titles. The home stretch was a nail biter. Those two are running away with Tag Team of the Year. Ethan Page going all homicidal maniac after losing his smile by crushing Javon's throat with a chair, had HBK's fingerprints all over it. Oba continues to look like a world beater time and time again. The event was solid, but the main event was solid, but the ending was a little deflating. The second taping will clear the air. It wouldn't surprise me if Trick and Oba gets a Thorpe-sized third wheel at New Year's Evil. The women's tag was very good. ZARIA and Soul have solid chemistry.
Thank you, Megan. And I like your Jordan flu game reference. And then we go to Frank, the birthday boy, Frank. He says, Lowell brought the energy tonight. Fraxiom is still fine. Loved that Oba Axiom match. And the women's tag was fun as well. Paige went on from depressed to a diabolical attack as they rehab him. Confusing ending aside, a fun episode overall. I think he has similar thoughts as us there. Thank you, Frank and Megan, for writing in there. Appreciate all of you, and appreciate everyone there in the chat tonight. I see all of you. Appreciate all the little comments there. I see Goodfella, Megan, all the Jake. I see all you. Tyler in there. Everyone, thank you. Appreciate. We won't be doing this next Tuesday because it's Christmas. So Merry Christmas. I will watch because they advertise Santa. So he's gonna have a busy night. He's got I guess it's his stop in Lowell. When he stops down, he jumps down.
I guess, yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll have to see there. But exciting stuff in NXT. But appreciate everyone out there listening. Again, follow all the socials. We will be back through the weeks with other shows. If you want to buy us a Christmas gift, may I suggest you buy yourself a Christmas gift at patreon.com/poisonrana. $5 for a whole month's access. It equals pennies per podcast. Movie reviews, wrestling reviews, all the lot, all the fun stuff on there. And if that's not enough, buy yourself something nice. go to chop-tees.com/Poisonrana. Get yourself a toque, a hoodie for those cold winter ahead of us, snapbacks, t-shirts, all the things. You can support your favorite independent podcasters by buying some sweet merch. We appreciate it. And if you do, please send in some photos on your Christmas morning. I've been loving the memes. Have you seen these memes, Davie, of people, parents buying their kids replica titles? And then as the kid on Christmas morning opens the title, the dad slowly reveals the Money in the Bank briefcase. For any dad's future Christmas idea, there. Yeah. But as always, everybody, thank you. And we hope you have some good holidays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll see you all on Sunday. Please, 4:00 Eastern time. Join us, youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod for all fun and games. And don't forget Martin Bushby's Big Fat Quiz of the Year tomorrow night. That's Wednesday, December 18th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. The replays will be available. So make sure you like and subscribe, youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod.
Yes, and give us a follow, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, @PoisonRanaPod. I myself, Braden Herrington, you can find me at the Brady.
And I am at Davie Portman.
That is it. That is all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And get the furchata and what was it?
Fernada,
rum chata, eggnog, whatever it is. Thank you. Happy holidays and Merry freaking Christmas.
Ahoy!